When Rafi Fernandez opened her first spice shop in Sudbury in 1988, it was a brave, perhaps even foolhardy, move. Fernandez had recently moved to the small Suffolk market town with her family from the East End of London and was a bit bored, according to her 46-year-old son Kevin. She wanted to do something involving food and cooking but had no skills or knowledge for doing it commercially. To say that Sudbury wasn't ready for a spice shop is an understatement. I don't think we can emphasize how small and conservative this town was, says Kevin's younger brother Lee, 42. Can you imagine a family of Malaysian Indians descending on rural Suffolk in the 80s? Nobody really knew what spices were, or what Mum was on about. The only reason she chose Sudbury was because we lived there. But Rafi, who died in 2013, aged 68, wasn't scared of a challenge. If no one knew what to do with her spices, she would inspire them. She did cooking demos and workshops, says Kevin. She'd teach at the local school. She was always in the local press doing appearances and charity events. She was relentless. It was really about giving people more confidence in the kitchen. Soon, Rafi began creating special mixes for her customers. She would blend fresh or dried spices with fried onion and aromatic curry pastes, packaging each mix in a foil container. Regulars quickly worked out their preferences. Some liked it hotter, some milder, some wouldn't want cloves or cardamom, Lee tells me, so she would tailor the mixes and handwrite the ingredients on the lids. The business grew slowly in its first 10 years. It picked up speed when Lee came on board in 1999. One of his first projects was to develop an online shop so that his mother's mixes were no longer limited to Sudbury. Another turning point came shortly after Kevin joined in 2004. Having studied and worked in Yorkshire, he felt York would be a good place for a second shop. Opening in York pretty much transformed the business overnight, he says. We were exposed to a different and more discerning audience. That challenged us a bit more and we evolved. It also helped that, soon afterwards, a researcher for James Martin's TV series Yorkshire's Finest wandered into the York shop and thought it might be worth a mention. The plan was for James Martin to come in, buy 2 or 3 spices and leave again, says Kevin, but him and my mum got on so well that she ended up featuring in half of the episode. Years later, we still get people coming in on the back of that show. Mum became a bit of a celebrity in Sudbury. Customers are still coming 30 years after we opened. The basic concept of Rafi's spicebox hasn't changed much since Rafi died. They are still selling her original spice mixes, in plastic pouches now, with printed labels, and her culinary ethos remains intact. Our new customers always assume we're trying to recreate Indian restaurant food, says Kevin, but this is Indian food that you eat at home. What he means is that their mixes, and the recipes that accompany them, are lighter and healthier than your average Friday night curry. When a Rafi's box arrives in the post a few days later, I make a vegetable curry with a jalfrezi mix, which is delicate and finely balanced with none of the dubious aftertastes you get from some commercial mixes. The mas paridal, meanwhile, is a big fresh jolt of flavor. A Malay Kerala curry with coconut curry leaves and fennel, it goes very well with chicken. What has changed since 2013 is the scale of the operation. Over the past 4 years, they've opened 3 more shops, in Harrogate, Newcastle and most recently Leeds. The number of spice mixes has shot up to 50. The Rafi's original jalfrezi is still the best seller and they are selling around 150,000 bags per year. Would their mum be proud? She might be quite surprised by what the business looks like because the branding is more contemporary now and we employ a lot more people, says Kevin. She set it up, it was her baby, but she definitely wouldn't be disappointed. I think she'd be a little bit in awe of it, Lee says. It's come on in leaps since she left us. And what about the original shop in Sudbury? Is it still going? It definitely is. I think there would be uproar if we left, says Kevin. It's a part of the town now, an institution. Mum, because of her tenacity, became a bit of a celebrity in Sudbury. Customers are still coming 30 years after we opened and we're getting second and third generation customers in now. I don't think it'll ever really change. Spicebox.co.uk